Serious, have you ever known someone who wholeheartedly believed that they were wolfkin / a vampire / an elf / had special powers, and couldn't handle the reality that they weren't when confronted? What happened to them? Way back in the 80s, while I was still in elementary school, there was this kid who, every day, swore he was a ninja. He couldn't show us any of his moves or weapons, as his sensei had forbidden it. But that didn't stop him from making his outlandish claims, like the nunchucks and ninja stars he had hidden in backpack, or how he had fought and killed an entire gang, etc. One day, he claimed he could spin so fast he could turn invisible. Several classmates demanded he prove it during free time, and for whatever reason, he finally relented. He started spinning in circles, but we could still see him. So he kept spinning. Until he threw up. My friend thought he was Deadpool with all the powers and all. He once fell off his bike and broke his arm, and he thought it would heal straight away, and he refused to go to the hospital as a result. He now has a really crooked arm. A girl in my school, let's call her Emma, believed she came from a different planet that had horses as their gods. Emma convinced my friend and many others that a sheep had told her she was from a magical planet and that she had to worship horses because they are her gods. We were around 11/12 when this was going on, and I couldn't believe my friend believed her. Emma told everybody that she could speak to horses and that they would one day take over the world and we would all turn into horse people. She used to write letters, emails, and fake phone calls from her home planet if anybody questioned her or told her that she wasn't actually from there and was a normal human, and not in fact a human-horse hybrid. She would cry hysterically and then hold a really serious grudge against that person. She hated me. Her friendship group all wore matching bracelets and sang songs about horses and drew pictures of them. This went on until we were around 14. I'm pretty sure she would make a great cult leader though, as she managed to convince so many people. My best friend in high school and my first 2 years of college genuinely believed that she could not only speak to forestry, but that she was a wingless fairy. She would oftentimes, when we went walking her dogs, lean to trees and translate for me what the rustling of nature spoke of. She also would scribble in her books what she called new alchemy, violently scribbled circles and vase shapes she believed held magical and fey magic through her own powers. We had a falling out after a few years, after she moved to the other side of the country to be with her grandmother. We started talking about a few months ago and I found out she had been diagnosed with schizophrenia. She is currently on 2 types of medication and she told me her walks are depressingly quiet now. And that's the saddest I'm gonna be today. Thanks Reddit. Yeah. They had really severe childhood abuse/trauma to contend with, and coped with it by believing they were psychic. We met in like junior high when they still believed this. Eventually, they realized that they weren't entirely wrong, just a little bit misdirected. They're a deeply empathic person who, thanks to their abuse history, is very good at reading facial expressions, body language, etc. They're actually a really wonderful person, and ended up becoming a social worker and volunteer at a domestic violence shelter, where all of the qualities that made them a good psychic make them great at helping others who are going through a difficult time. I hope this gets pushed to the top. A lot of kids like this really do come from traumatic upbringings that aren't always super obvious. Pairing a tumultuous household and bullying at school can be extremely difficult to cope with, and a lot of kids find comfort in identifying with fantasy characters or species or who are also traumatized. Think of a werewolf who has to hide from the public because he/she is a danger, or fairies who are the last of their kind, etc. This story is so wonderful, though. There are a lot of ways that people can learn to cope with and then utilize their past to benefit the world in some way. Unfortunately, those things usually take time, healing, and often therapy as well. If you still talk to this person, please let them know that this internet stranger is extremely proud. This isn't exactly what you're asking for, but it's similar. From 1st to 6th grade, I had this friend Ally that genuinely believed she could see dead people and demons and whatnot. She would do the stereotypical vampire things, pretending to bite people, showing off her canines, talking about blood, etc., but that wasn't like her main thing. She had this one demon that she said followed her everywhere and hid in the bathrooms that we just called it. Ally always described it as being whiter than paper with 2 slits for a nose and sharp fangs. I wholeheartedly believed her because why wouldn't I? I was a dumb kid that wanted supernatural things to be real, and she was my best friend that had no reason to lie to me. I literally was too scared to use the restroom at school because she said that it always peeked over the stall. As the years went on, though, I eventually realized that she was making it up. But the conviction with which she said that kind of stuff was scary. I know her parents were going through a rough patch at the time, so I think she was just making it up for attention, which she got. I haven't talked to Eli in a while, but another friend of mine ran into her at a fair recently and said she seemed to be doing well. I'm glad things are better for her,